Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Happy Monday.
Okay, good. Audio's working.
Sweet.
And I'm going to turn that off. Alright, cool. So, sorry for the delay there. I'll be honest, we were not ready for stream today. I was busy at work, totally spaced it. Didn't put together an image or anything like that. So this is going to be kind of a shoot from the hip type of episode. But hopefully that's okay. I know you guys expect nothing but the most professional, polished, high production value type streams from us.
This is a improv streaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Flex our muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just talking with Sarah. I think something that might be kind of fun to do is if we were to basically put on a Netflix video, like any bad movie on Netflix or Prime or whatever, let people know what movie we're going to be streaming,
Right.
and then not streaming the movie because we can't do that,
Right.
but streaming our reaction to the movie and basically telling people, okay, we're watching this movie, and then once everybody's kind of logged in, being like, okay, start. So that everybody can be on the same page watching the movie at the same time, and we can just heckle the hell out of the thing.
That's fun. I actually used to do a thing like that when I was younger. We would we took turns bringing like a bad movie.
Yeah.
And we would all just sit around and trash it. It's fun. I'm down.
And there's never any shortage of bad movies.
Yeah.
There are some really bad movies out there. Panic Roll, hey, how's it going tonight? What's the dinner report? Always got to know. So yeah, I think that would be kind of fun for us to do at some point.
Yeah,
But
that would be cool. I think that would be a nice way for chat to get in there too.
yeah, for
Roasting
sure.
some shows and stuff.
Yeah, so they can get in there and just be like, this movie is terrible.
Mhm.
Ellie, hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Hey guys.
Nice to see you. There's some stuff to talk about. We don't have anything specific planned beyond. We're going to talk about Game of Thrones to start off with. So, I'm going to say it right now. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen the most recent episode of Game of Thrones, you probably don't want to watch this bit. Probably come back in like 30 minutes. Or just mute the stream for a few minutes, or for the next 30 minutes, but stay logged on to help drive up our viewer count.
I mean, honestly, it's not going to change your opinion of the show.
Yeah. McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese, Big Mac style. Yes, I love the quarter pounders with the Big Mac sauce.
I still haven't tried that yet. I need to do
It's
it.
so good.
I gotta try it.
I don't know what it is, but it makes a huge difference. So, stream has lagged twice since you logged on. Okay, yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on with that. Like, our, you know what, hold on, let me put my phone on airplane mode, see if,
Yeah, you know what? I'll back out.
there we go. Hopefully that helps. One fewer device on the network.
I killed mine.
But, pardon me. So let's talk Game of Thrones. Again, spoiler alert for the last time in case anybody did not catch that. Apologies for the lag. We might kind of have to just roll with it. I really don't know what's causing it. Yeah. It's crazy. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We may disconnect real quick and reconnect to see if it fixes it, but we'll forge ahead for the moment. So, Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 5?
Yes.
Episode 5.
Episode 5.
I probably don't have as strong opinion on it as you do. So why don't you start, Samson? What were your takes?
Out of all of the episodes this season, this was the most Game of Thrones-y
Okay.
episode. Like, it was the one that felt most like it should have been in the series. But this whole season has just been garbage for me. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I feel like the writers knew they were getting out of it. They weren't interested in doing it anymore, and they're just kind of just throw something on the page, let's get it
They're
done.
phoning it in.
That's what it feels like.
Okay.
And it's a damn shame because, I mean, I get it. They spent like a decade on this, probably longer, because production and everything.
Right.
And they're ready to move on, but like, there's no reason to not close it in a reasonable fashion. They're just doing stuff that's like, all the characters are doing stuff that's out of character. There's like, 7 seasons of build up, and then episode happens and they're like, I'm doing the complete opposite of everything I've ever done this whole series. Like, it's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I think for me I don't feel quite as strongly about it. Like I'm not impressed with this season, having not really watched previous seasons.
Yeah.
But I'm not like vehemently denouncing it. Having said that, one of the biggest things about it that I didn't like was what happened with Jaime Lannister. And Cheeky Ellie actually pretty much said the exact same thing. I really resented what they did to Jaime. And I agree. They basically took what would have been a really interesting redemption arc for him and just reset him back to baseline status quo as he was at the beginning of the show, and then killed him. And it was just like, I feel cheated for that. And I saw an article about it that, oddly enough, was pointing out a continuity error where like he gave Cersei a hug and you could see his right hand, but it was his actual right hand and not the gold hand.
Oh wow!
And they were like, yeah, it's a pretty good like symbol for
really reset him.
Yeah, like they really decided that nothing that he went through mattered.
Yeah,
because he just went right back to Cersei, and I was so angry about that.
Yeah,
like in retrospect, like because you and I watched it together last night. And I wasn't that upset about it at the time, but the more I thought about it today, the more it really pissed me off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're like, you know, again, the Starbucks cup. Like I don't really care.
Kashura.
I don't really care that like that happened. You know what I mean? It's a movie.
Yeah, it happens.
Set, stuff happens, but it kind of speaks to like the level, like the gold hand thing. Like like earlier in that episode, he was like making it a point. He was like, "Hey, guard, look, it's me," or whatever. You know what I mean? Or whatever hand it is, and then to make a mistake like that's just kind of like, what are you guys doing? They like either they're knowingly doing it and just being like, whatever, this will be hilarious, or they're like literally just like you know, I keep picturing, I don't know if you've ever seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but there's a scene where they're on set filming Good Will Hunting 2 and the director's just counting money and they're like, so action, and he's like, whatever, I'm busy. Like I keep seeing that over and over, like that's all that's going on here. Like, I don't know, I hate it. It's a huge disservice to the fans, but whatever. I mean, can't change it now. They're not saving it in an episode, so.
Well, and so Ellie says they could easily have had him kill Cersei, ring the bells, and then die when Daenerys flamed the Citadel anyways. And yeah, they absolutely could have done that.
They could have done tons of it.
And I think that would have made more sense, because even when he leaves Brienne, he says, she's a hateful person and so am I. That's not a line that to me says, I'm going to go back because I love my sister.
Right.
That's him saying, I'm going to go back and I'm going to kill a bitch because she's crazy and she's done all these terrible things. And she's dragged his name through the dirt by association with all of the lies and all the scheming and everything that she's pulled. For me, like, I thought that with Tyrion saying, oh, ring the bells, if they ring the bells and open the gates, it means you should pull your forces back. Yeah. I was expecting Jaime to get to Cersei, tell her that, and then her to go, oh, that's a great opportunity. Thank you so much. Hey, guys, ring the bells. And then when they turn around, fucking kill them all. Yeah. Like, because that's more Cersei to me. And it would have been smart for her to kind of outplay Tyrion at the end there, because he's still, for whatever bizarre reason, hanging onto that familial loyalty. Yeah. But that's another thing. Like, I just watched a clip where he, like, got tried for Joffrey's murder, and at the end of it, he was, like, yelling, screaming at them, like, I wish I had enough poison for all of you, and I would sit here and gladly watch you drink it. Yeah. And then he's turning around like, oh, well, we have to spare Cersei?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
like,
the moment he had with Jaime, where he, like, freed him, that was kind of beautiful. Because there always was that bond between the two.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That was kind of nice. But you're right. Even, like, Cersei's character, everything she did was out of character last night.
And she mostly just stood there and watched what was happening.
Yeah, like, that's not her at all. Like,
I
don't know.
I was talking with a coworker who's really into the show today, and I was talking about the fact that, like, the way Cersei died. And I think everybody kind of feels the same way as my coworker, where, like, that wasn't enough. You know what? We said spoiler alert.
That was awesome.
So when Cersei dies, like, everybody expected it to be more, just more dramatic, more poetic, more, justice-filled or whatever. And I agree with that. I feel like she kind of got off easy. Yeah. However, I do think you can look at it from a couple different perspectives. One of which being she died being crushed by the city that she'd been trying to rule and oppress for forever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little
bit of poetic justice in that. also she dies not being the center of attention. At that point, she's a casualty in what's happening. She can't do anything to control it, and in a way, that's the most decisive blow you can deal to someone like Cersei, who believes that they should be the center of what's going on.
Right.
And to have her basically just kind of die off screen as far as all the other major players are concerned kind of makes some sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what the writers were going for, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think they stumbled into, there are some narrative interpretations you could make for this. Ultimately, though, I think it was just them writing kind of a shitty ending for that storyline.
Yeah, they were literally just like, the roof falls. Cool, we're done.
Right. Rocks fall, everybody dies.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
I mean, seriously, you could have... There's so much thing. Like, I don't have a problem having a show end and then there be questions.
Right.
I expect that, and I kind of like that because it leaves it open. I mean, the greatest movie ending, I think I was talking to Sarah about this, the greatest movie ending ever is probably... why can't I think
Inception?
Right? Yes, thank you. For Inception, where it just leaves it hanging, and you're like, "What the hell?" Like, that's amazing. That's such a beautiful ending, and like I'm okay with that, like open-ended stuff. And I would have been okay with some of that too. Like honestly, they should have just gotten that boat and sailed off. I would have been fine with that. That would have been a great ending, because then who knows? Like they're still out there. Like or maybe they got outside and I don't know. She was waiting there with the dragon and she eats her. Or anything would have been fine. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah,
I do wish Jaime would have killed her though. Because that would have been the ultimate finish to his redemption, even if he did die.
Yeah. Cheeky Ellie says, when he's bad enough man to do the evil thing necessary and kill her, that would be a good use of his words to Brienne. Yeah, I agree with you completely. Thank God for fan fiction. I guess that's true. Everything gets fixed with fan fiction. I mean, fix is right there in the name. Fan fix.
Yeah, I guess so.
But... So for me, another thing that kind of bugged me about the episode was Varys.
Yeah, I don't like the way that went down.
Like, I really get that the show has always been about, like, people are just going to die. And they're not necessarily going to get the dramatic moment where they get off the really good line, or they, do something memorable or heroic or whatever. Sometimes people who are heroic die in really ignoble circumstances. It happens. And Game of Thrones has always been really focused on that. Like, nobody's safe has kind of been their unofficial tagline.
Yeah.
But Varys, what happened there was like, you've got this character who, throughout the entire show, has always said, I'm here for the good of the realm. Yeah. I don't care who you are as a king. I don't care who you are as a queen. Like, the realm is what matters. Yeah. The realm is what's going to last. Yeah. And I agreed with that, and I liked his character. And for him to die like that was so abrupt. And I just don't see Tyrion having gone and ratted him out like that, except for the expediency of time.
Right.
Like, I feel like he would have been much more graceful about it.
Yeah, there was no play in it. In giving him up. That's what Tyrion does. He's angles. He plays chess, and that there was no move to be made with that. It was just weird. The only thing that I like kind of found comforting in that was the fact that Tyrion was like, "Hey, it was me." Like that was pretty in character for him. But the rest of it was just the hell. And Jon too. Like Jon's been, I'm gonna do what's right no matter what. He just stood there and watched. Yeah. And just like let it happen. And
yeah, like he didn't...
For this whole season, he's just stood there and watched and let it happen. I don't understand. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I really thought he and Grey Worm were going to fight.
I think they still might.
I think they will in the final episode, and I can't wait for that fight because it's going to be awesome. Well, I hope they make it awesome. But I really thought that in the middle of the battle, they were going to fight.
Yeah, it looked like it for a minute.
And I was prepared to see that happen. Yeah. I was kind of disappointed it didn't, but that's fine. They're saving something for the final episode. That's cool. Unless Tyrion wants to make sure Jon sees Daenerys for what she is. Otherwise, I don't get why he screwed Varys like that. Yeah, I agree. Like, I guess that is one angle you could look at, but Tyrion didn't think that Daenerys was that person up until that point.
Yeah.
He still thought, like, maybe she could be a good ruler, a good queen. Which is his whole that's his side in the conversation with Varys.
Right.
So I can't imagine that that's what they were going for, because then if that is what they were going for, they wrote it really badly.
Yeah.
And at this point, Tyrion sees who she is anyway, and he's who saw who she was from before that. Like, he was picking up on it.
Yeah, he knew.
And let's talk about Daenerys. Holy shit, crazy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate she turned into the villain so thoroughly, because, I mean, she street sweepered that place.
Yeah, I think you said this last night, that, you know, when she's in Essos and she's freeing the Unsullied and, you know, some of those other slaves and things like that, and she's kind of taking those cities, she does it from the perspective of, like, I need these soldiers, I need these people, I need these subjects.
Right.
And the fact that I've come in and set them free works for my benefit, but I don't really care if they're free or not.
Right.
Like, it looked good on her application, right? But it doesn't actually speak to who she is as a person or what her philosophy is. And I think that's probably true. Like, up until that point, everybody that she conquered had a reason to love and adore her.
Yeah.
Once she got to Westeros...
You know what, though? I've been thinking about that since we had that conversation. There actually is, and it's kind of one of my favorite episodes. So I guess it's not too out of character for her, but I think it's this mid-season 5. She gets caught by all the calls that are, like, roaming. Mm-hmm. She's by herself. She doesn't have the dragon. She doesn't have anybody with her. And they're like, yeah, you're going to become a wife that just kind of wastes away. You're just going to be like one of the previous wives or whatever. I can't remember. There's a term for it.
Yeah.
And she ends up trapping all of the, like, when they're having a meeting, she traps them all in and sets the whole thing on fire and burns all the calls. That's how she gets all the Dothraki as her soldiers.
Right.
And I
remember that, actually.
That's kind of what she did. Like, I mean, maybe it wasn't so out of character for, like, in hindsight for...
Well, so here's the thing. I think she had the predilection to burn her enemies that her father did.
Oh, yeah.
From the beginning.
Yeah, she likes playing with matches.
I think the paranoia and the crazy aspect didn't set in until she got to Westeros, and she wasn't surrounded by people who adored her.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, she only had a few people she could trust, and she's watched them die or have reason to turn against her.
Right.
And so now she's in Westeros, where her father went crazy with paranoia, and she's running into the same issue where, you know, she's seeing enemies everywhere. The people that she can trust are starting to die. Yeah. The people that she used to trust have betrayed her or are failing her. Yeah. And I think that it's that Targaryen bloodline coming through and influencing her.
Yeah, there's something in the air there that doesn't mix with them.
Yeah, it's like they shouldn't... It's almost like Westeros and the Targaryens are cursed almost. Yeah. And Jon Snow's kind of... Because he was born on West... No, but because several generations of them were born there. I don't know. Regardless.
Yeah.
Or, well, most of the Targaryens are born of incest. Jon Snow was one of the few that wasn't.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but there was a lot of, like, good visual stuff that happened in the episode. And again, it was my favorite episode of this season so far. Mm-hmm. But it's not really saying a whole lot, in my opinion. But
right,
like the way the dragon came through the gate from behind, I loved that visual.
That was cool. So much for the Golden Company, right? What a bunch of chumps.
Yeah, yeah, they were not worth what they costed.
No.
The scene where the Hound found his brother and that whole thing was going down. Like that 10-minute chunk, and then the flashbacks, the editing they did with, like, him and Arya marrying each other.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
Panacle says that's what happens with inbreeding. Yeah, inbreeding is never good, folks. Don't do it. Public service announcement: the more you know, knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, right.
Don't participate in inbreeding. Yeah. Ellie says, I saw the villain arc coming. I don't think she's crazy. I think she's bitter because she wanted to be loved and welcomed. I agree with the bitter part. I disagree on crazy. I think she is straight up crazy. You see one of the, like, close-ups on her face where she looks like her brother.
Oh yeah.
Like she's gaunt, her eyes are sunken in. She's got that wild-eyed look to her.
There's a couple people inside that head going on.
Yeah, yeah. There's some madness there for sure. Yeah. She's also bitter, and I think that's driving a lot of it.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know that she really has a reason to be bitter. She's born in a world, in a position where she understands that going in and taking over the kingdoms is not going to make her a popular person.
Yeah.
She knows that. She talks about that several times in the previous seasons. Like, I'm not just going to be able to walk in there and have people welcome me with open arms. I have to fight for it.
Well, they're definitely not going to be doing that now.
Yeah, seriously. Let's talk about Euron Greyjoy.
You know what? I hate the character, obviously.
Yeah, he's a terrible person.
Agree. I don't know that I liked the ending for him. I don't know that. I don't hate that he like got in and was like, I'm the king and whatever, and I did all this to your sister and blah blah blah. But that was kind of weird to me from like having Jamie involved in it, not so much Euron. Like, it was just weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would have been cooler if he would have fought like maybe Snow or somebody. Like,
yeah, it was a weird kind of final showdown
Yeah.
to have, like those characters to have. Also, the number of times TV shows and movies use something explodes right behind a character and it propels them away from the explosion and they're totally fine.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
if that was the case, then a lot more military guys would be trained to jump when something explodes or when they think something's going to explode, because then it would save their lives. But then for him to wash up on that particular shore, like, when you're looking at that scene,
moment.
there are no Iron Fleet ships burning in the distance.
Yeah.
So he had to have come all the way around from one direction to the other, all the way around those rocks to get there.
Well, I mean, he can do magical stuff in the ocean. Look what he did to the dragons last episode. So
that's true. Yeah, he was able to triangulate their trajectory and like fire over the rocks to hit them. Yeah, it was some crazy stuff, but I'm glad he died. I wish it had been a little bit better. I really fully expect. You know what? I really fully expected his sister, or not his sister, Theon's sister, Yara, to show up with like her ships to distract them for the dragon to come down. Didn't happen. But I would have liked to see her kill Euron. Yes, that would have been like there would have been some justice. Closure there. But I just realized that they're still out there, kind of holding down the Iron Islands for Daenerys.
I'm wondering if they're going to show back up. It seems like a lot of characters are kind of just done. Like, they kind of closed it.
Yeah.
That was her swan song, was I'm going back to the Iron Isle.
Maybe. Like, I think part of the problem with this season for me, again, not having watched previous seasons really, is it seems like it's setting up so much stuff and then it doesn't deliver on it. Which, again, that's kind of Game of Thrones' thing, is like, random shit's going to happen. People are going to die that you liked, and it's not going to be in any particularly impressive way. But Martin's not really in charge of this season, and I would have thought that the writers would want to give people some amount of closure in some of the setups that have happened.
Right. I mean, you would think just them, they have to be fans too. They've got to be a little bit invested in how that story turns out. You would think,
I guess
other
that's
than
true.
just a paycheck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, well, you know, I'm not really a fan of my stuff, but then, like, when I look at it, usually I do enjoy the stuff that I'm writing. So, yeah, I mean, you would think that if they've been working on it for so long, they've got to have some kind of investment in it. So, yeah, it's weird. It's, like Ellie says, it's lots of loose threads, and I agree.
Yeah.
I do think, though, they're between a rock and a hard place, the writers. Like, the team, like, the people behind the show.
Right.
Nobody's going to be happy with how they end it. It wouldn't have mattered if they'd taken an extra 2 seasons or if they just did it the way they're doing it. If you gave them a happy ending, like, if they gave people happy endings, everybody would be like, this is bullshit, this isn't Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But if they give people the Game of Thrones endings, people are going to be like, there's no closure. All my favorite characters died. Nothing happened.
Right.
It's just the status quo all over again. So, like, no matter what they do, they're kind of screwed.
Sure.
Like, people are going to be unhappy with them.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just really trying to subvert people's expectations, and they're just being like, fuck you, stuff happens.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I really don't know. I will say, having watched the entirety of this season so far, I have been wondering why people enjoyed this series up until this point so much.
I'm telling you, it's a different series. This season can't be counted. It's so different. It's so different.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was just, I don't know. I mean, part of it was, it's kind of funny. Like, part of the appeal of the show is the nobody's safe.
Right.
And now people are dying, and people are like, "Oh, why is that character die?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like I get that, and like I think I may have even stated on a stream like all I care is that Arya lives.
Right.
But like kind of now too, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I want him to kill her off. Like I don't know how I feel about it now because just the way everything's going.
Right.
Like,
It would depend on how they wrote it.
Yeah.
So, Ellie says, weren't they offered 10 episodes to wrap up? And D&D, the guys who write, the writers, said, nah, hold my beer, we're going to do it in 6.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much what happened, yeah.
I'm really curious what you guys think. Who, like, I'm imagining the next episode opens up with Tyrion dying for letting his brother go. Like, I'm curious, like, predictions, what everybody thinks. Like, what do you think's happening? I think Tyrion's dying, and I think somebody's killing Daenerys.
I think Tyrion is going to somehow be involved in helping someone kill Daenerys. He might die as a result.
Yeah.
I really hope not, because I like Tyrion a lot. But I mean,
how great would it be if he got on the throne? That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting, but I don't know how likely.
Yeah,
it is.
it's not gonna happen. I mean, in all honesty, like you're saying, the randomness or whatever, she probably is living. Daenerys is probably living. She's rolling, and that's how it's gonna end.
She like escapes. I was thinking like I would not be surprised, and I kind of hope they do this because this is how I would write it. Is Daenerys and Jon have their little moment where they're she's like, you're gonna bend the knee or I'm gonna kill you, and he's like, I can't do that because you're crazy.
Yeah.
And she goes, fine, Dracarys, and the dragon just looks at her and looks at him and looks at her and goes, no, he's family. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so it kind of takes the dragon out of the equation in that power struggle.
Right.
Because he is a Targaryen. I don't know. I think, I'm not saying they will do that.
Right.
I think it would be interesting to kind of see that, like, to even have her dragon taken away from her right at the end, but not killed.
Yeah.
I think would be kind of an interesting
Pressure.
moment.
That would crush her.
Ellie says, shock value is no substitute for good plot and characterization. You say that, but look at any soap opera in history.
That's been running for 40 years.
Yeah, exactly. They pretty much only run off of shock value and rehashed plot lines. I feel the same about Sansa. She's my boo. Yeah, luckily she's in the north, so I think she's kind of safe and insulated from harm in this last episode.
I think she's coming back.
She
I
might.
don't think we're done with her yet.
She might, yeah. Ellie says, I think Tyrion dies, maybe killing Daenerys. Jon is involved to protect his home, and Sansa, who she sees as a threat. Yeah, I can definitely see Jon being like, okay, you don't like my sisters. I don't want anything bad to happen to them. I think that's going to be another deciding factor.
Yeah.
I think Jon fights Grey Worm, Daenerys kills Tyrion, and Arya kills Daenerys. That could work. Yeah, I can see Jon killing Grey Worm for sure. Yeah, I can see Daenerys killing Tyrion. Again, I don't want it to happen.
Right, me either.
Because the Dinklage is
he's
a baller.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, it could happen. I don't know. It's weird because I'm not like really invested in this, but I'm really curious to see what happens.
Yeah.
Like the only character who I really would hate to see die is Tyrion. All the rest of them, I'm like, yeah, as long as they write it well, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
So.
One thing, it's kind of weird. One thing I'm looking forward to is actually not looking forward to the show anymore. It's kind of weird, but it's been so long that like the season's like waiting for a new season to come out, and then once it's here, like every week, the grind. Like I'm kind of looking forward to not looking forward to that show.
I'll be honest, this is the first show that I have seen in years that I have actually followed week to week. Normally I'm used to waiting until it all comes out on Hulu or waiting until it comes out on Netflix and just watching it at my own pace.
Yeah.
I hate weekly installments to shows.
Oh.
Like, I much prefer the ability to just be like, you know what? I've got a few hours. I'm going to watch a couple episodes, and then I'm going to come back to it later. Like, yeah, I can't. It's exhausting.
It is.
I can't imagine why people or how people continue to watch TV this way.
Yeah, it's weird to me. Like, if I go over to somebody's house and they're like watch TV, and a commercial comes on, it's like jarring.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, what? Like it's so weird. I don't know.
Well, heck, just watch YouTube these days. There's pushing a bunch of commercials through their videos.
At least
now.
you can skip most of those, though. There's
True.
some you can't, but
True. Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, that's Game of Thrones. Some predictions, some reactions,
some disappointments.
some disappointments. More than a few disappointments, I think. I was going to say something. I was going to say something about the episode, and it was. Oh, it was your comment last night, right as the episode ended, when Arya's riding away on the horse, and we're all like, oh man, blah blah blah, and you come out with like, yeah, Arya, she ran into Shadowfax and pieced the fuck out or whatever. So that was really funny.
That was the only thing I could think of when I saw it, because White Horse, I was like,
Yeah,
Shadowfax.
yeah, exactly. Gandalf is got to be around here somewhere.
Yep. Slip to the east.
So, anyways, that's Game of Thrones. You asked me if I had seen a trailer last night, and I hadn't, but I have seen it now, and that is the new It trailer.
What'd you think?
It was funny because it came on as part of a YouTube video. It was a commercial for a YouTube video.
Nice.
And I was watching, and I didn't realize what it was at first.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there talking, and they're like, oh yeah, how long has it been since you came back to Derry? And I was like, Derry, why is that? It's like Derry, Indiana. No, that's Gary, Indiana. What is Derry? And then she got up, and you saw this weird stuff happening in the background, and I was like, oh, okay, that's good. That's really well done. I think it might actually be a decent horror movie.
Did you see the first chapter?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So
it's pretty good. I mean,
that's what I've heard.
I don't know if you've ever watched the miniseries from the 80s or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's way different, and I don't know if it's truer to the book or not, because I've never read the book, but
right.
I personally like it way better. It's definitely, because that one's kind of campy, whatever. I mean, but it's definitely creepy, and this seems like it's gonna fall in that vein. So
I will say, I am not impressed with this Pennywise. I don't think he looks that creepy. I think he looks more cheesy special effects compared to Tim Curry's Pennywise. Like the practical makeup effects were just...
Yeah, he was creepy. It's Tim Curry.
It's Tim Curry.
Yeah, you plug that guy into anything, it's instantly better.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But I just feel like this Pennywise doesn't quite measure up. And so I was fine with everything right up until that, where they showed that part, and I was just, at that point, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. It is what it is. You got to have him, fine.
Well, one of the things that's kind of interesting is, it's, what is his name? It's not Bill Skarsgård. What is the kid's name that's playing him? I can't remember the kid's name that's playing him, but he was you saw Deadpool 2, right?
Yeah.
The toxic kid.
Yeah.
He's Pennywise. That's who's playing Pennywise.
Oh, he is. That's funny.
So
okay.
The thing with the eye, that's natural. He can do that. How it's cockeyed or whatever.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's he does that at will, and he does it in the movie a lot. He moves him around and stuff. That's a natural ability, I guess.
Okay, but that's cool.
It's so weird. It looks fake.
Yeah.
It looks so fake, but that's really him. Apparently it's just an ability he has. But
Ellie says, not looking forward to the It phenomenon. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Well, hopefully we don't have another a clown appeared today thing happening back.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was about, because just clowns are weird.
Panic Girl says that is Bill Skarsgård. Okay, yeah, so you were right.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird. When the last one came out, there were just these random clowns. Unless it was some sort of viral guerrilla marketing for the movie or something like that, which is entirely possible. People do crazy stuff to promote their projects, but especially when you've got the budget for it. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of weird timing.
Yeah, we don't. So nobody needs a clown epidemic.
Yeah, no. Clown epidemics are not necessary.
The casting on that though, for the adults, I'm so in love with the casting. Bill Hader, what's his name, McAvoy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot James McAvoy is in it. Yeah.
They're everybody.
Who plays the lady in it?
She's she's in the new X-Men movie too. Why can't I remember her name? Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew I recognized her. That's who that is. Okay. I mean, I'll probably check it out. I'll probably watch both, back to back. I don't know. Panic says I'll fight a clown. You have fun with that, Panic Roll. I'm out on that.
I'll cheer you.
Yeah. I will throw you all the rubber chickens that you could possibly need in that fight, but otherwise I'm out. There's going to be a support role at that point. There was another trailer that actually just came out as well. Oh, Watchmen.
Oh, right.
Let's talk about the Watchmen trailer. I'm really on the fence about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued. I'm definitely going to watch it. I'm going to check it out. But I just don't... Again, I've only read the original source material, the original Watchmen that came out. And the movie was pretty on par with it. There were some parts missing that I wished would have been there, like the whole conversation with the newspaper guy and the little kid and the like the pirate boat thing. Like that was, I don't know, to me it was kind of like the heart of the thing. But
there were some really prominent parts.
Yeah, it was very,
i.e.
very
body parts, i.e.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Manhattan's giant blue.
But I'm kind of glad that they didn't shy away from that though, because it was in the comic.
Yeah, and I agree. I actually felt like it was meant to be a movie based on more adult content and not adult isn't like pornographic, but just adult thematically.
Right.
And I feel like having a male character have full frontal nudity just as kind of a matter of course for him was like, it was sending that message like, hey, this isn't a kid's movie. This is relatively serious, and if you can't watch this without going it's a dick, then it's probably not the movie for you.
Right.
And so I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. Alan Moore is always so far up his own ass, like self-importance wise, that like I can't be really that excited about anything that's promoting his work.
I don't think he had anything to do with this though.
I know he didn't.
Okay.
But still,
right.
Like they're still continuing on with his story. Which again is problematic because Watchmen is not meant, he didn't write it with the intention of it becoming a serialized recurring thing. It was supposed to be satirical of, you know, near the end of the Cold War era politics and militarism and nationalism and like the weird, you know, fetishization of vigilante heroes, because right around that time frame they did become more gritty, more grim. You know, they were more about killing people, they were more militarized, they were more like the comedian character, and less like, you know,
more Punisher, less Superman.
Night Owl,
the Owl. I think it was just the
Night Owl. Yeah.
Right.
And which I think was kind of interesting from the perspective of the movie, because it, and the comic book in general, is it basically took the idea of, you know, the classic superhero, like the masked cowl people who are out there fighting crime and solving mysteries and being heroes, and they were retired. They were tired. They were like, as a concept, they were tired.
Yeah.
And so you got Night Owl being literally tired and kind of growing out of that role because people had moved past it. And then you got the comedian who is this hyper violent, aggressive, rapist, like terrible person, and he dies via his own methods. Like he violently murdered at the beginning of the comic. And so I feel like it was really good satire and, like, you know, kind of pointing out, hey, this is a weird trend in comic books, don't you guys think?
Yeah.
And he famously was like, Rorschach is not a character that you should be admiring or aspiring to be like or anything. Yeah. He's hyper conservative, he's crazy, he's violent. Like, he didn't want people to idolize that character, and they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I feel like, regardless of my personal opinions on Alan Moore himself, I feel like people missed the point of Watchmen entirely.
Yeah.
Having said that, I did enjoy the movie, but that's just because I couldn't sit through reading the entire comic book. I got really tired of it really quickly.
Did you?
So yeah, I don't know. That's my take on it. I don't know about you.
I really love Alan Moore's writing. I get that you don't like
it. He's an excellent writer.
And I understand everything you just said, though. Like,
I'm not saying he's a bad writer. He's an excellent writer. I just think he's so full of himself.
Oh, yeah.
And his, like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, screw you, dude. Like, people like your stuff, appreciate the fact that they like your stuff. Don't call them idiots because they enjoy your work.
He's one of those weird, like, I'm famous, but I hate you because I'm famous.
Right.
Thing. Like, it's kind of weird.
But anyway, sorry. Please continue.
But yeah, so the to get back to the original, the trailer we were talking about, I don't know. So, like, if you guys don't know, currently DC's revamping their whole world, and it's because of the Watchmen. Like, at the end of the movie, Dr. Manhattan's like, I'm bouncing, I'm gonna go see if there's any other life. And apparently he recreated the DC universe, which was the New 52, and now it's resetting back to what it was before. And they're like, the Watchmen are the catalyst for it, and they're kind of refolding them into the mythos of the DC world, which I don't agree with. It's really weird. But I don't know if because there's a series called Doomsday Clock, and I don't know if that's what this is, because it kind of feels like that. Because I mean,
I've seen some of the branding for the Doomsday Clock thing, and it's very reminiscent of Watchmen. Yeah. From like a perspective of like the colors that they use and some of that stuff that I've seen.
They were trying to duplicate it, but bring DC Universe into that. So it's really weird. I don't know, and if that's what the series is, I don't know how much I'm going to be in on it. I don't know anything really about it other than they're using it as a mechanism to reset everything. But yeah, I don't know. The weirdest thing to me in that whole trailer was all the Rorschach followers were like doing that whole TikTok thing.
So the only thing I can think of that would kind of explain that is that he did send his notebook with like everything that happened to the press before he died. And I could totally see that information coming out and some people being like, hey, we should listen to this. This is legit. And he was a doomsdayer. Like, he walked around with signs during the day saying the end is nigh and all this stuff.
Yeah, he definitely did.
So if they're kind of taking the angle that he wrote all this stuff down from the perspective of prophesying,
yes,
predicting the end of the world, predicting the end of the world and like a doomsday type of thing, I could understand them going from that angle from like the cult that rises up around that. And it's kind of an interesting concept when you think about it. Like, I think that's one of the things that will make the Rorschach character in retrospect a lot more sinister than people realize.
Yeah, kind of turn him evil. Like,
well, not necessarily evil, just like really fundamentalist. Like he was.
Yeah, he was definitely that.
He's characterized by like, you know, he's talking about like the sinners deserve to be punished.
Yeah.
And he's not just talking about people who are like murderers and stuff like that. Although he does kill some murderers and people who are doing like dogfighting rings. He's also lumping like prostitutes into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really symbolic. I think a lot of people like saw the Rorschach and they were like, "Oh, he's crazy," so it's symbolic of that.
Right.
But I think it was symbolic of how he viewed the world. It was either black or white.
Yeah.
That was what it was. That's what he was looking through, literally.
The shape of evil may change, but it's still black and white when you get right down to it.
That's his whole point of view.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, I'll check it out. I don't know. I just don't know enough yet. So. Yeah,
because it's weird because they didn't really, as far as I can tell, they're hinting at one hero character, the female cop, who is Regina King, I think, is the actress that's playing her. Yeah. They kind of show her like I assume it's her in like some sort of costume,
which kind of. But is that like the new Rorschach? Because the mask was kind of
like most of the that's right. I don't know. It could be.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy meditating who I think is Ozymandias because he lived through everything that happened. And it's I don't know. It's just weird to kind of try to figure out how they're connecting stuff.
Yeah.
Because all the cops are wearing masks too, and so I mean I guess you could take the line that the lesson that the regular people and the cops took away from all that is, you know, you need to have the mask in order to be trusted or respected or to be effective or something along those lines.
Maybe.
Yeah. Cheeky Ellie says, you took the words out of my mouth. I'm very on the fence about Watchmen. I'll wait for you guys to give a verdict. Fair enough.
Nice. As
soon as it comes out, we will watch the pilot episode and let people know what we think. Because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not like diehard like excited about it.
Right.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll watch. I'll give it one or two episodes, and if I'm not hooked,
I'll bounce out of it. Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, let's move away from TV shows. Let's go back to movies. So we did movie or TV show, movie, TV show, movie. You said that there were some big announcements for movies last night. I forget what they were exactly.
So, Disney released a slate of movies that they're planning on coming out with. Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised when I saw it because I had just, like a day or two before I read this, and this was actually a little bit earlier in the last week, like mid last week, but they announced that they were gonna pump the brakes a little bit on Star Wars, give us some time to rebuild steam or whatever they were doing. I don't know.
Right.
But they announced new movies, like one coming out every other year until like the year 2026 or something like that. Ridiculous. So I don't know. And supposedly it's a continuation of the current canon.
But so continuation of the current canon I get. But if it's direct follow-ups to the events in these...
They haven't confirmed if it's going to be like a Skywalker continuation. I really hope they're not doing that because...
I thought I heard that one of the movies they had confirmed was Knights of the Old Republic.
That would be awesome. That would be so awesome.
That would be cool to see like a trilogy for that. I'd be very happy. I heard that too. Every other year, switching off with Avatar, as in Avatar or like James Cameron Avatar.
Yep.
Oh, gag me with a spoon. All right, well, fine. I guess I'll have to live through that for a couple years. So the Star Wars thing I'm iffy on. Like Knights of the Old Republic would be cool. I don't even mind the idea that they're going to take like the events that have happened in these movies and do another trilogy kind of directly tacked onto that.
Right.
As long as they really change up like the players, the characters that are involved to focus on something else in the universe or some other people's reactions to stuff in the universe. Because I really love Luke and Leia and Finn and Rey and Poe and all those characters. I'm tired of them.
Yeah.
Like, we need to see something else in Star Wars. Solo was kind of good. It was a heist movie, but it was all characters we knew.
Yeah.
Rogue One was, it was a good movie. I shouldn't say a fun movie because it's a war movie when you get right down to it. But you knew how that was going to end.
Yeah.
There was no reason to get invested in those characters for the most part. Other than the fact that some of them, like the Blind Jedi dude, were just freaking awesome.
K2SO.
But, and K2SO was cool. But when you get right down to it, like, none of the offshoot movies that they've done have really been outside of the stuff directly surrounding the rebellion.
Right.
And they need to get away from that. They need to show other parts of the universe, other characters. It's an entire universe. There are galaxies, multiple galaxies involved.
Yeah.
They need to move away from it. That's my opinion.
I would be okay with them even still having the Resistance, but if they used it as like a set piece, not so much as like these characters are going to be involved. Like I would like to see something like 2 fighter pilots who are TIE fighters, like pilots, coming up through the ranks and their story.
Yeah.
Like that, something like that.
Yeah, like even taking a different, like showing the same events but from that perspective, I think would be interesting. They kind of did that with Battlefront 2, the Star Wars video game that came out like last year that had all the microtransaction hullabaloo. I just used the word hullabaloo on air. That's
preserved.
That's some cool points deducted, I think, but that's okay. Like the Battlefront books, I don't know, Ellie. This Battlefront 2 was a video game that was a multiplayer focused thing where you were playing in different eras, playing on 2 different teams trying to achieve objectives, but it also had a story mode that saw you take control of a character whose name is eluding me at the moment. It's kind of typical Star Wars-y name, but she's an Imperial Special Forces stormtrooper. And it kind of shows her during the Battle of Endor, so, Return of the Jedi, and everything that she goes through after that. And it's actually really good. I haven't finished the story yet, but, like, everything that I've played through so far, I really like what they're doing with it. Yeah. So it would be kind of cool to see something from that perspective on screen. Yeah,
I mean, I'm fine with the world setting and it existing how it is, but just somebody different.
Yeah.
Something.
Ellie says, I'd enjoy KOR, Knights of the Old Republic, Bastila and Revan. I've never played Knights of the Old Republic.
Well, I don't know if they can do anything with Revan now. I mean, they kind of modeled Kylo after him, didn't they? I mean,
that's true. He's very similar.
Visually a clone of him.
Yeah. So I haven't played it, but I've seen some stuff, like some clips and whatnot. Is that the one that has HK-48 or whatever, the hunter-killer droid that... Am I thinking the right one? Is that Knights of the Old Republic 2?
I think that...
There's like a droid that's like, you can recruit onto your team. Red Shirt says we're no longer friends, Ben. Damn it. I didn't think you were paying attention, Red Shirt. I thought you were just like lurking.
That's funny.
Cashmere says I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I have nothing to contribute. That's not true. I mean, you can give opinions. Opinions are perfectly valid. Yes, HK-47 is in both KOTOR. Okay.
HK-47, okay.
Yes, Ellie Iden Verso is the character from Battlefront 2.
Oh, okay.
And she's really cool. She's very compelling as a
That's a
character.
good name.
So yeah, when I watched my friends play KOTOR and they were like really making just a huge deal out of this HK-47 character, I was like, I hate this guy with a burning passion. I hate everything about him. And that was one of the big reasons I decided not to play the game.
Yeah.
I almost fell into the same trap with Dragon Age Origins because everybody was all like, "Oh, Morrigan, she's amazing. You get Morrigan, you should romance Morrigan." I was like, I hate this bitch.
Yeah.
Everything out of her mouth is terrible. She's constantly encouraging you to like kill random people or let them suffer and all this stuff. Why would I like this person?
Yeah.
And I just don't get why everybody likes those kinds of characters and thinks that they are just the best companions to have. I feel very strongly about this. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean...
Casher, opinion. I think the Empire had some good points. You are a terrible person. How dare you?
Hold on, let's hear
Ellie says, same, I like the idea of expanding on why some of the people/worlds joined them. Yeah, and Okay, obviously there are some parallels between the Empire and Nazi Germany. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
he did that on purpose.
literal stormtroopers.
Yeah,
I mean, it's right
purpose.
there. But I do think that Nazi Germany and the Empire, not everybody that was involved in those regimes were Nazis or like the worst of the worst Imperials. Some of them were people who were just trying to survive in the climate that they had.
Sure.
Some of them obviously did that in the worst way possible, and they should be held just as responsible as the leadership of the Nazi Party, 100%. But there were other people who they didn't really know the truth of what was going on behind the scenes, and they were trying to do what was best for their country, for their families, for themselves.
Yeah, they were in survival mode too.
Yeah, exactly. And so I agree. I think it would be interesting to see from the perspective of people who they don't necessarily drink the Kool-Aid and jump right in with like the worst of the worst Imperials, but they're still a part of that for some reason or another.
Right.
And I think you could tell some really compelling stories with that.
I mean, Star Wars has become so convoluted, I could actually see somebody making valid points for wanting to be a part of the Empire, for quelling any kind of, having to standardize, currency and language and whatever. Like, I could see somebody making a point for that and not being evil.
Yeah.
So,
or even someone that's like, hey, my planet was, constantly in turmoil because different, rebellious factions kept, killing off the current government and taking over, and it was back and forth and back and forth, and I saw friends and family die. I like the idea of galactic order, like someone coming in and saying, this is the way you should be doing things. We're going to make you into an effective, prosperous population. You just have to follow our rules. Like, I can see someone coming from that perspective and being like, all right, I'm on board with that, without, again, being evil. So, it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do that with the movies, but it's possible.
So,
Ellie says that Imperial March, though. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, if all they gave me was like, okay, this is our theme song, do you want to sign up or not? I'd be really tempted. The Republic was massively bogged down and ignored the Hutts and slavery, etc. That's true. The Republic was not some utopia. It had issues.
Sure.
So, I mean, you can't just be like, oh, the Republic was the best. Even the rebels, like in Rogue One, what's his name? Cassian Andor. Like, he's not a good person.
Oh, no.
He's doing what he needs to do the job, but you can make the same argument about Imperials. They're doing what they're doing because they were given orders and they think that this is the right thing to do.
Well, I mean, look at Solo in Fest Nest. She was the villain of the show, but then you find out she was just trying to feed people. Yeah. So, like, I mean, there's tons of arguments for motivations.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. So, I don't know.
100%.
We'll see where they go. I'm really curious to see how Episode 9 turns out because I'm curious, but
I'm going into it with an open mind. I've liked the latest couple of Star Wars movies. Were they my favorites? No, but I enjoyed them. So I'm willing to check this one out and give it an open mind. Yeah. So Redshirt says you don't have to have either of them in your party. Just shove them into a broom closet and forget them. That's pretty much what I did in Dragon Age Origins with Morrigan. I think I only brought her out like on the couple of like character story missions she had. Otherwise, I was like, you sit there, shut up, don't ever come near me. What was her name? The character that came from like the game's version of France. Liliana, something like that. She was the character that I romanced. She's the only correct romance option in Dragon Age Origins.
I've actually never played that game, so I have no...
It's pretty good. I've heard the series as a whole is good, but I didn't bother playing the sequel because at the end of the first one, I sacrificed myself to save the world. My character's done. There's no more story there.
And no mount. Yeah.
And granted, the second game has nothing to do with the first one from the perspective of like the characters involved. It's just in the same setting. But I still felt like, you know what, I got exactly what I wanted out of the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ruin that.
Right.
And people did actually have a lot of criticisms for Dragon Age 2. And so, in retrospect, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm glad I skipped it. But that's just me.
I just games like that are huge that I know are time sinks, I'm like, I can't. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just avoid them because I don't have the time for it. So.
They're dangerous. Like Sekiro, I'm playing right now, and I only play every Wednesday, and I'm still like, I want to play more. But if I sink more time into it, like I will not get anything done. So
It's a trap. I mean, I wish I could. I just can't.
yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Cheeky Ellie says, "Gotta go get laundry." All right, good luck with the laundry. I hope you are victorious in your struggle against the clothes. But yeah, was there anything else we wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to talk about, geek out on?
I'm trying to think. There's not really anything.
You know, I realized that for a channel that does a comic, like writes a comic book every Monday, we don't really geek out about comic books very often. We geek out about movies that are related to comic books, but not comics themselves.
That's all right. I mean,
I agree.
We could talk about comics. I think a lot of people though would kind of be like, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah,
because there's so many and it's so hard to catch up. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
Why don't you guys tell us? Let us know if there's a comic book in particular you'd like us to talk about, even if it's a comic book character or a storyline that you've heard about and you're like, you know what, I don't have time to check it out. Someone give me the Cliff's Notes. Let us know. We'd be happy to talk about that. Alternatively, what we could do if folks express interest is we could both choose a comic, buy issues every so often, or like buy the last however many issues to catch up on the story, and just kind of talk about that. Because I haven't picked up a mainstream comic in forever. I think it's been a couple of years for me at least.
The last time I bought comics was when Paradise Games was in their old location.
And they still sold comics.
They were moving, and they were like, "You can have this whole box for $5." I was like, "Okay." Like, I don't even know.
Sold.
I don't even know if I've gone through it all the way yet, but
that's funny. Yeah, the deal like that you can't really pass up.
I was like, all right.
So, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe we do that, and it doesn't have to be mainstream comics like Marvel, DC. Like, there are some Dark Horse titles that I did reviews for a while back that I thought were really interesting looking. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to check out. Shadowland Art. Good to see you. Hello. Thank you very much for joining. How are you tonight? All right. Pick up Jason Sean Alexander's Spawn run. It's amazing. Okay, Spawn.
I follow that guy on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
he's an amazing artist. He's so good. He does like oil paintings for the like panels and stuff.
That's impressive.
Yeah, his work is great. It's so good.
That is really impressive. So do you want to pick up Spawn and we can talk about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Spawn.
We'll look at picking up a few issues and like starting with number 1 if we can find it, and then we'll both read over it and we can talk about that next time. And
for Spawn number 1, because they've never broke count. They're close to 300. They're about to break 300 mark. I can start there. I already own like the first 70 or so issues.
Is it the same writer and artist?
Yeah, Tom McFarlane's written the whole time. Other than having like a guest writer every once in a while.
So then who's Jason Sean Alexander?
He's the artist.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, McFarlane just does...
McFarlane's still writing that?
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe we don't start with number 1 then, because that's a lot of comics to catch up on. So maybe we can take a look at like a recent storyline and go from the first issue of that storyline.
Sure.
So
Down for that.
Dark Horror trade just came out. That's JSA's start. Okay, cool.
What was it called again?
Dark Horror.
Okay.
So we'll have to check that out. Thank you very much for the recommendation. I appreciate that. Speaking of like horror comics and stuff like that, there was that Alien comic that came out. I forget what it was called. I wrote a review on like the first couple issues, and I was really impressed. And I want to see if I can find it.
Like aliens?
Yeah, like
okay.
James Cameron Aliens. And it was really, really well written and really well drawn.
Yeah.
And I really fell in love with it. And then I didn't follow it anymore because I stopped doing the comic reviews for a time. So yeah, I'm going to check that out and see if I can find it again because that was good.
There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
Set.
All right. So we will try to have one of those two things read and ready to talk about for next week. But in the meantime, it's an hour in. So what do you say we jump over into the Ravensdale Writes comics side of things? Because we skipped that last week.
We did.
And we've got some stuff that we want to finish up for this particular comic on the script. And I don't know if you have any progress to show off on the pages.
I didn't bring them out here. I do have some progress.
Up to you.
I'm just gonna keep working on this because this is like the sketch stage for the painting I'm doing for the.
Sounds good.
The thing coming up on the 24th,
23rd.
23rd.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can at least show that off, and we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, pardon us just a moment, folks. We are going to mute. We're going to take like a 2-minute break while we switch over to the other stream channel, and we will be right back. So don't go anywhere. No problem, Ellie. Thanks very much for joining and for chatting. Get some sleep. Have a good night.
See you later.
And then I have to pull up the comic book script. I should have had this ready before, and I failed to do so. So you get to see my very disorganized Google Drive folders.
It's not disorganized. Know exactly where everything's at.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit. So, for those of you who... Oh, Panic Roll says, are you going to end up painting over the pencil?
Yes. No. But this... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to render this out completely in pencil because I'm crazy. Then I'm going to transfer this onto a piece of wood and paint on the piece of wood.
How are you going to transfer it over?
There's one of two ways. I'll probably cheat just because of time's sake. There's a carbon paper. I'll probably just throw that on the bottom and kind of outline it, map out my major darks, and then paint from there, using this as a reference.
Gotcha.
So
what are you going to do with this piece?
I'm going to hopefully auction this one off too.
All right, sweet.
And I wanted to talk to you about it. I'm wondering...
Oh, Shadowland Art says, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with it. This is the first time I've seen it in person since he started working on it, and I'm really
nice.
I'm really impressed. I knew you were good. That still kind of surprised me.
This isn't even as cleaned up as I want to get. So the painting will be more tight than this, but this is how I normally draw. This is my normal.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, so we've been hindering you.
No,
holding you back.
We've been doing comic book stuff, so I've been doing comic book. But this is like my natural drawing style.
Casher says stunning.
Thank you.
And I agree.
But yeah, I was thinking, so we could do this. There'll be this drawing here, and we'll have the painting, and possibly maybe we could do like a limited 10 prints, and that can be donated as well. After the print costs for it shouldn't be too much.
Yeah.
So
heck, I might even be able to cover the print costs out of pocket to kind of encourage people to donate or something like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. As much as we can help, I'd love
Panic Girl says it's going to be more tight than that. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, this is just a sketch.
The level of detail you're looking for in a painting just blows me away. Because I remember once when I was in high school, I took an art class. Because a good friend of mine, part of my D&D group, and he was one of those I'm just gonna say he's one of those assholes who, like, even in high school, granted he shouldn't have been smoking, but like we'd be hanging out playing D&D and he'd just be sitting back, you know, dice in one hand, cigarette dangling out of his mouth, pencil sketching away. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, here you go," and I'd just be like, "How do you do this?" And he was like, "Oh, you know, it's practice. You know, sign up for this art class. I take it every year."
It is.
And he kind of helped me like start on this painting idea that I had, and I never finished it because it was terrible. But yeah, I kind of understand all of the stuff that goes into it from that experience, and I'm just like, I don't see how you would try to get that level of detail with painting.
Well, I'm kind of a sadist with the painting, so I have a mentor that taught me how to paint, and I just love the paint style. So basically what I do, and I would love to show it on stream at some point, but basically what I do is I put really thin watered down layers on top of each other. So for like this head, I'm probably going to spend like 10 hours painting that easy. Because I'll try and do it like, I don't know, have you seen any of my paintings at all? Like at the
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't even know that painting was a major medium that you worked in.
I mean, that's mostly what I did for a long time. I did like a lot of gallery work up in LA and stuff, and I sold a lot of stuff.
Wow.
For group shows and so. But yeah, I'll have to show you a painting because I try to do, basically what I'm trying to do when I'm painting is I want the structure underneath. Like I want you to be able to see that there's skin with veins under it, and like I don't necessarily want you to see the vein, but when you look at it, I want it to fill.
Right.
Like I try to go for that low level of photorealism. I don't know if I always pull it off, but that's like the goal and stuff. So
that's
that's why I was saying earlier. I use photo reference a little differently than other people do.
Right.
And I think, you know, again, maybe that's something I can get into later. But like even for this was just, I pulled up images on my phone and sketched them from that. So
like, I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here in front of me and I'm impressed with your art. I'm really not just trying to like, you know, blow smoke here. I've always been one of those people who like, you know, from the time I was a really young kid all the way up till today, like magic exists in the world.
yeah.
This is magic. And I legitimately mean that. Not like it's magic in that, oh, I don't understand how it's possible, a little bit of that. But mostly it's just like the level of skill and talent and just that something that you can't quite name that certain people can put into pieces of art is awe-inspiring. And I love that stuff. I love seeing it. I can never do it myself, but I love just looking at it.
Yeah.
So
I get what you mean. There's like a lot of artists I feel that way about. Like there's stuff people I see, I'm just like, holy shit, like how did you do that? Like I don't even know how you did that, and I'm like, I can paint, but yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you for saying that, and I'm glad that you get something out of the artwork. That's awesome. And hopefully somebody feels that same way too and helps out with the streaming.
Well, Casher says I want to see a stream on that, and Panic Roll says I'd watch you paint it. So I don't know if you want to stream like some of the painting process, but we could definitely. I mean, we've got the cameras. We could set up something for it.
Completely okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hey, keep an eye out for that. We'll figure out the logistics and we'll let everybody know. But yeah, I mean, I've talked before about the fact that I really appreciate facial expression in art, like especially in comic books, because it is a narrative thing, and I can already see that even in some of the faces you haven't fully detailed out. Like I can see the difference in the expression and the emotion that's trying to come through as a result. So
yeah, I mean, do you want me to talk about it, like what kind of the layout and stuff? And the
if you want to, or we can dedicate a stream to that. I don't know how you
that's
feel
fine.
about it.
We can wait. Because there's a lot of thought process in there. Like the emotion is the driving factor on this because of the game. So
all right, well we'll schedule something. It'll probably be an extra stream that we do.
Okay.
Maybe we will even do it leading into, or you know what? Maybe we should do that next Monday, because it's the Monday before the Senua's Sacrifice stream.
Okay.
So maybe we'll dedicate next Monday to you kind of doing some more work on it, showing progress. We can talk about it, and yeah, maybe we do that. That gives us a couple weeks to actually pick up the comics, read through them, prepare to talk about them the following Monday.
Okay, perfect.
All right, cool. Oh man. Awesome stuff. Just like I feel like I'm an okay writer. I've had people read my stuff and really like my stuff. I don't think I'm to that level.
You
a
are.
writer as you are an artist. So
I think you are. I feel like that. I feel like you're a great
aspirations.
writer.
It's good to have goals.
Like some of the stuff that we've talked about story wise going forward, it's amazing. Like the world building that you have and like the ability to see ahead and stuff. Like I said, I can't write. It's amazing to me what you do. So I feel the same way. You were very inspiring to me, which is nice that we're.
It's reciprocal.
Yeah.
All right. So let's jump into the last couple pages here. So in the previous page, sorry for the rapid scrolling there, folks. We did page 20, Procyon kind of finishing off Shatterstone. And then leading into page 21 of Maelstrom showing up, and she's going to kind of get the upper hand on him. Everything good with the camera there? Do you need to
I'm
tweak
just
anything?
gonna make sure I'm still in frame here. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna have to bid on this, dude. You're a pretty damn good writer. Well, thank you very much. I try. I've got a lot of work to do. I'm not traditionally classically trained. Is that the term you use for writers? I know it is for artists and musicians, but sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I haven't gone through official creative writing classes and stuff like that. I just have done a lot of hobby writing in my life, and I've written a lot of academic papers, and I think those two things have just kind of gotten me where I am. So,
I think in some ways, like that kind of stuff sometimes kind of ruins a little bit of like the rawness and the talent, because you get stuck in like an institutional way of thinking, and it's not
right.
Yeah.
You have to approach it this way and approach
Right.
it that way. And I think I guess that is true to an extent, because I have talked to other friends of mine who have taken those classes, and they use similar terminology, and it's like, oh, the 3-act structure. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get that, but do you have to, when you're initially coming up with it and writing through it and like developing the story, do you have to take that perspective with it?
Right.
And some of them don't, but there are a fair number of them do, and I feel like it does kind of put them in a bit of a box.
Yeah.
But then again, they manage to finish stuff, and I often don't finish my stuff, so maybe there's something to their way of doing it. I don't know. Something I wanted to talk about. I haven't shown this to you.
Oh, surprises.
Yes. One moment, folks. I won't be able to show this on stream just yet, but I wanted to show it to Samson real quick. So I contacted that guest artist to do the variant cover for this.
Yeah.
And she provided us with that as a. Oh, careful! That's on camera.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. I'm so in. That's awesome.
Yeah. I need to get her
Very awesome.
the additional character turns just for extra reference, but
I have them done too. We
oh,
can,
perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can upload them as soon as we're done.
Sweet. Yeah, I love the pose and everything. It's a little bit different than the classic, villain
Yeah.
triumphing over the hero. And I think
It's perfect.
yeah,
It's perfect.
I think it's exactly what I was looking for. So I'm looking forward to working with her. We'll actually be showing that on stream sometime in the near future, where she'll join us and kind of be finishing up that cover piece.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I definitely would like. That'd be cool. Have her like talk about the process and stuff. That'd be great.
yeah. Panic Girl says didn't really show up, just kind of a black screen. Oh, that's good. Whew. I don't want to
Sorry.
spoil anything just yet. That's okay. I forget about the overhead camera too.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a new part of our setup.
I'm all like, yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. Castro says, I think you're your own worst critic. You've got a great voice. Your logic and characterization are impressive. Thank you.
Agreed.
I try, but we can always improve, right? We always have ways of elevating what we're doing. So that's the goal. You don't want to get stuck in a rut. So page 21, Maelstrom is going to show up. I feel like does she zap him out of the air, or does she wait until he lands? Because at this point, the only reason she's coming back is to retrieve Shatterstone.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, if she zaps him out of the air, that's going to make Shatterstone fall too.
right. Maybe instead of zapping, she strong like downdraft. Like she kind of forces him, like pulls him down, kind of like a reverse tornado type thing.
There you go. Should she be... I don't think she'd be coming in from the ground. I feel like she'd be coming in from, like, I think she'd be flying in.
Yeah.
So... Huh.
So what? Hold on. Back up for a second for me. Where are we at right now? Give me the previous panel.
So the previous panel is where Procyon is holding Shatterstone up in the air, like so high up that he starts to pass out from lack of oxygen. And so the previous panel on the last panel on the previous page is like Shatterstone's eyes rolling up into the back of his head, and as he passes out.
Yeah, maybe just have her come in from above and like some kind of whatever, like I don't know if she's gonna be like a smart ass or what she's gonna be, but like some kind of line where she's just forcing him down. Like even if she's kind of like staying close to him and just kind of like pushing with like a ball of air or something, and she's kind of just forcing him down while she's saying something to him. She's like coming from above.
Is she worried about hurting Shatterstone at that point?
No, because she can slow him at the bottom. Maybe she can pull a draft up to kind of catch him, or.
So from a drawing perspective, is that how do you feel about that sequence of panels?
So he's holding him. I imagine he's not being gentle while he's holding him. So probably something like by the collar or by the neck or something. And then her coming from above. Maybe she just kind of blasts him with the air and they kind of separate and Procyon kind of flies off.
So Procyon loses his grip.
Yeah. And she
flies off,
kind of
and then
holds
she
her
kind
friend.
of like catches him.
Yeah.
And like lands with him.
Yeah. And then maybe
as
the
Procyon's getting up.
panels can be like kind of her and Shatter getting smaller, like while Procyon's falling, like respective, like what just hit me type thing. I don't know.
Okay.
That might be kind of cool.
All right.
After seeing that, like I'm super happy about it right now.
I will say, like we've managed to keep some pretty decent momentum with this stuff. Just being like you said, like amped to get back into something when we talk about a page or when you show like the layout or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. Like it's really, this whole method is really, I don't know, keeps us rolling. Like I don't know, it's really conductive and forward pushing. Because I don't know, I've tried doing a comic by myself before, and it always stalled out. But I always stalled out on the writing part. So
yeah, I've never even attempted a comic before, so this is brand new for me. Let's see. Panic Roll agreed with Kashira. Yeah. You're all against me. I know how it is. Oh, by the way, we hit 60 followers today.
Yay.
We're really, really thrilled with that. We're hoping to get to 75 so we can do another stream raffle.
Yeah.
So tell your friends, encourage them to follow. If you haven't followed us, please do, so you can get entered into the pool. We will throw up the rules for our raffle towards the end of the stream. So keep an eye out for that.
Just start hacking your friends' computers and signing up.
Yeah, exactly. Just sign into their accounts, hijack them temporarily, follow us, subscribe, donate a bunch of money to us under their account. That kind of thing. Wait, no, hold on. What's that called? Oh, right, that's a crime. Don't do that.
Wait, this isn't a pyramid scheme? I'm out.
Not a pyramid scheme. No. However, do push the message that they should come to our channel and follow us.
Yes.
So we're all about the validation. Please tell us that we're pretty and popular, please. All right, so Maelstrom's going to hit him with a blast of air, kind of like send him hurtling to the ground. He loses his grip. All right, so panel 1. Be very vague with these panels. We'll come back and we'll fill out the descriptions more a little bit later. Hold on, before I do that, let me do this. Panel 1, panel 2, panel 3. All right, so Maelstrom. Or no, Maelstrom doesn't show up in the first panel. I think. So Maelstrom kind of descends from a cloud. Panic Girl says, "Do it. Yes, do it. Follow us. One of us. One of us." Maelstrom descends from a cloud overhead. Would her hair be kind of like whipping around like crazy, or is she perfectly coiffed because she's in control of the whole thing? I don't think she really cares about the hair thing. I think she'd let it just do its thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of crazy hair.
Procyon is, what's the word I'm looking for? So Procyon loses grip on Shatterstone, who plummets like a rock. Pun intended.
Nice.
Alright, so Maelstrom shows up. Procyon's like, the wind picks up. And he's like, what the heck? Maelstrom says, I think you'll find that belongs to me. I'll be taking it back now, as she hits him with the wind, sends him hurtling off towards the ground.
Nice.
Procyon's going to go back to narrating for a second. So then he narrates, says, I'd exhausted my reserves. I couldn't correct my course. I focused every last ounce of strength I had in bracing for the impact. As the last, panel for that page. I don't even think we have to show her catching Shatterstone. I kind of feel like we show the impact of him hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Procyon hitting the ground. And then, she shows up kind of standing over him, holding on to Shatterstone's form.
Yeah.
So I think that's the idea. Casher, what is blocking in script writing? I know nothing about stuff like this. Okay, so hold on. I'm going back. Panic Roll says, Ben, why do you write some of the words in all caps? Are those keys for Samson's? Cashera says, yeah, it's sort of like blocking in script writing. Like you said, to help Samson know what Ben has in mind for that panel or dialogue. What is blocking in script writing? I know nothing about writing stuff like this. Yeah, basically that's the idea. So it's all about calling out keywords. And the interesting thing is that actually in script writing, they typically, from my understanding, talking to some of my friends who have worked in the industry, is typically they will bold nouns, things like a particular prop or a setting detail or a character name or something along those lines, to let everybody know what they have to get together in order to proceed with the scene. I don't have to worry about that so much because we're not getting together physical assets. We're just focused on what's going to be put onto the page. And so the way I use it is to I actually block descriptor words, adjectives, things like that. Something that I think is kind of important for the action of a page or a panel, so that when Samson's reading over it, he kind of knows what I'm calling out as being particularly important. Sometimes it's not really necessary. I mean, Samson could just read the thing, but it's kind of made the intention for me is ease of reference. So he doesn't have to read every single word in a descriptor. He can kind of just look at the overarching concept and work from there. I don't know if it's helpful or not.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to, when you're looking at a whole page of words, sometimes the words get lost when you just have the keywords there. It's definitely very helpful.
Perfect. So it's by no means an industry standard way of doing it. It was kind of just me bastardizing some stuff that I kind of had heard about script writing and using it for this purpose because I didn't know any other way to do it. So, it worked out. I actually have a couple of friends in my writing group that I meet with on Tuesdays, and I've been showing them some of the comic script writing that we've done for this and one of the other projects we're working on. And one of my buddies, he actually was a stunt. He did stunt work in films and in Hollywood, and he's also done a little bit of writing and been involved in that side of things.
That's cool.
So when he started reading, he was like, this is throwing me off so much, but he,
why are you calling all this stuff out?
He's like, this is not the way you're supposed to do it, but I get it. So it was kind of interesting. Panagold, great explanation. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for asking questions. It's always nice to have things to talk about, because otherwise I could just sit here and navel gaze the entire episode. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see my navel. Usually there's lint in it. I don't know. It's weird. Is that TMI? That's TMI. Some people have cute belly buttons. I am not one of them.
Yeah, me either.
Lemon bars. What the? Where did lemon bars come from? Did I accidentally say lemon bars instead of lint?
That's funny.
You're gonna have to explain that one, Kashira. Do we need a final page? Well, I guess we kind of do, because
Like to wrap up this confrontation.
So I kind of feel like this confrontation is fine here, but I think the final thing is going to be, like, we kind of talked about him sitting there with, like, the fire crews and everything like that, like with an oxygen mask on or something like that. Or no, that was talked about in my writing group. They had suggested that as like a kind of a final wrap up page.
Okay.
So I think that could kind of be a splash page, like single page thing.
Yeah.
Putting us at 23. Oh, we already have a 23rd page here, almost like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Casher, I had a lemon bar at lunch today, and Panic Roll was as a newborn to this amazing dessert concept. Lemon bars. It's like a Danish. Oh, I see. Sorry, I missed a previous thing. Also, Casher, if you could explain what a lemon bar is to me? Is it like a Danish? Lemon bars aren't really Danishes. They're not cake either.
It's a lemon bar.
It's a lemon bar. Yeah, it's its own thing. They're delicious though when done right. I love a good lemony dessert, man. They can be the best. Nice and refreshing. The funny conversation at work today. Casher was trying to explain to me what a lemon bar is, and I just wasn't getting it. So really, that's cruelty on Kasher's part. She should have just given you a lemon bar so you could experience the joy and wonder that they are. But Kasher is heartless, so I guess I can understand that.
I mean,
you even showed him one. You showed it to him, but you didn't give him any.
lemon bars
That's
are amazing,
terrible.
so I could see not sharing one with you.
I guess that's true. Yeah. You know. Also, that comment could be totally. What I just said could totally be taken out of context. She showed you? Yeah. Totally didn't share. See, that's an Imperial thing to do. A Rebel would have shared. Alright, so 2 panels. Action summary. Procyon hits the ground. Again, this is like the 3rd time this has happened to the poor guy. Actually, no, over the course of the entire comic, this is like the 4th time he's hit the ground.
It makes bouncing a lot.
Yeah. Procyon hits the ground before he can get to his feet. Maelstrom shows up and pins him down. To gloat. Alright, so panel 1. Kind of trying to think, like, so like he hits the ground, causes an impact crater. Should he, like, and he kind of crawls, like, drags himself up out of the crater, and Maelstrom's standing there. Should she, like, basically step on his back and push him into the ground that way, or should she turn him over, or should we have him facing up, kind of like on the thing that I showed you? Because I don't want to necessarily recreate that exactly, but I want it to be kind of close.
Yeah, I don't even know that I would have her. I would just have her do something like stay down or something. I don't. You know, it'd be even cooler actually if she's there. She makes a comment to him, and then is Shatterstone conscious again?
I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe have him like bury him.
No, like just have his head like sticking up.
Yeah.
Or like have like his upper body, because he still has to get out, because the fire is still going on around him.
Right, so he starts to get out, and maybe he just earthly prison. I don't know.
Yeah. I got it. Okay, so Procyon basically starts to drag himself out of the crater. Maelstrom's standing there. Shatterstone's kind of right behind her. Maelstrom zaps him, like small zap bolt of lightning, but it still like caught, like throws him back into the opposite side of the crater.
Yeah.
And then Shatterstone kind of just like causes the crater to fill back in halfway, kind of burying him like up to his waist.
Nice.
And that's where they're going to be like, kind of an Indiana Jones moment, like from Raiders or from Temple. No, something in the Lost Ark.
Raiders and Lost.
Raiders. No, no, it's
No.
the Holy Grail.
Yeah. No, that was which one was Last Crusade?
Yeah, the Last Crusade. There it is. Where the guy, like, it's the flashback of him as a kid, and the guy's like, "Yeah, better luck next time, kid," or something. He gives him the hat. So, you might be a little bit of a dessert guy. Whoa, okay, I missed some comments. Let me scroll back. Panicroll says, "I'm not a dessert guy." Casher says, "I'm an only child." Panicroll says, "Imperial for life." Really? Casher says, "You might be a little bit of a dessert guy, though." I'm a bit of a dessert guy. I'm an Imperial girl living in an Imperial world. Yeah, we really need to get that T-shirt. I need to write out the lyrics for that song, too. I need that on a T-shirt. Here's a question, Casher. Would you still eat a lemon bar if it had cilantro in it? Or on it? Oh. A cruel, heartless thing. I'd have to scrape the top layer off, but I would. I don't know. Cilantro and lemon might be a good combination. I would not.
Palate cleansing?
Yeah, cilantro in large amounts is terrible. Little bits of it are fine, but... Alright. So Procyon hits the ground. You know what? I don't think we need dialogue for that one. So Maelstrom says... All right. So Procyon says after, like, as he's trying to drag himself out of the crater, he's narrating, I didn't have any fight left. It was all I could do to try and get to my feet. Maelstrom zaps him, says, "You put on a good show today. Let's not overdo it, love." And then Shatterstone says, "Better luck next time, kid."
Nice.
And that's kind of like where we'll leave off for that.
I like that. I like those characters a lot. They're a good team up. It's a solid team up.
Yeah, it's... So there's this weird thing that I find with writing villains for superhero stuff. Like in all the superhero RPGs that I've ever written and, the comic concepts that I've come up with, the character concepts, one of the things that you always run into, and I think this is true in a lot of comics, and they try to have to write their way around it, is like, why don't the villains try to kill the heroes, right? Like, they set up these elaborate death traps, and the heroes escape, and it goes into this whole psychology of, like, do the villains really want to kill the heroes, because then they don't have anybody that kind of give their lives meaning, and yada, yada, yada. Like, I actually am more interested in writing it from a perspective of there's just this unspoken line that even most villains don't cross.
Yeah.
Villains don't necessarily have to be murderous to be villainous. And so when the villains are written from that perspective, and that's built into kind of their characterization, that they go out of their way not to kill people, I think it just makes for a more internally consistent story. Like, I think this is something we're going to get into. At least this is something I want to write at some point, is a story where a villain does kill a hero. And all the other villains come out of the woodwork to, like, track him down.
Yeah.
And, like, deliver him to the heroes so that they can take him in for justice. Because they're like, this is something we don't do. It has always been this unspoken thing. If you kill heroes, it gets worse for everybody. Not to mention, killing people is just plain wrong. Like, it's...
Plus, too, I feel like it's kind of a weird, like, nuke. You know what I mean? It's like, once you use it, you can't use it again. It doesn't have the same impact. So, like, that one time you do decide you have to use it, you should make it count. So it should never be a thing. Plus, too, I think villains, in my opinion, and I think that's why I sympathize with them a lot, is they're usually misunderstood. They're going about something that's, in their mind, correct, but they're going about it the wrong way.
Right.
And I think that's the most interesting villain, is somebody that's just trying to, like, you know, I've got a sick kid or whatever, I'm trying to steal all this medicine or whatever. And so, like, murder isn't really on their radar because they're not inherently evil.
Right.
They're just desperate.
Yep.
So.
And even the ones who are more self-serving, you know, again, there's still a line. Like, there are a lot of career criminals who have never killed someone or tried to kill someone because that's just not in them.
Yeah.
Like, stealing from people, sure. Conning somebody out of their life savings, fine. Killing somebody, though, like, okay, whoa, let's
undo that.
Yeah, let's just tone it down a little there, buddy. Samson, how long did it take you to do the eyes for her? They are amazing, and her eyes are a huge focus in the game.
So I sketched the whole thing out. I spent like an hour or two on it, and then for rendering this, you know, I could probably tell you. I posted a video of the thing on Instagram, then immediately did this, and then posted the picture. So I don't know how long that gap was, but I don't know, a couple hours between there. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things I was kind of alluding to earlier with the discussion of, like, facial expression, stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to talking with you about that next week.
Yeah.
And kind of delving into that a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's hugely important in the game, and there's a lot more going on than's detailed in this. I put a lot of thought into the layout and of the particular faces I grabbed, key moments and stuff. So
very cool.
So
Panic Girl says bank robbers don't need to murder to be villains. Absolutely, yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Good distinction, because it's much harder to villain if you're at the top of the FBI's most wanted list, and that's a great point. Like, the more heinous your crimes, the more you're going to be on people's radars.
Yeah.
So, like, a villain that goes out and steals the occasional, like, scientific gadget or whatever, and who does so in a flamboyant way, yeah, they're going to get a lot of media attention. But in a world where that's kind of normal, it kind of blends into the background. The second someone's like, oh yeah, he did all this stuff and killed 30 people, like, the heroes are suddenly going to be a lot more interested in that particular villain.
Right.
And that's not good for longevity in your villainous schemes. So that's kind of the approach that I'm taking with it. Also, I kind of like the idea of a world where, you know, the bad guys kind of have this, like, this understanding with the heroes and with society in general that, like, you know, to a certain extent what they're doing is something that will be not tolerated, but they'll, like, at the very least they won't be calling for, like, nuclear strikes on these villains.
Right.
Because they do kind of have this understanding. And so that's kind of, I don't know, that's the take I'm trying to go with. I lost my train of thought halfway through that, but...
No, I agree with that. Like, I think it allows them to kind of, like, the Robin Hood effect. Like, they can kind of be championed by some people because they see them as, like, oh, I wish I could rob a bank. Like,
right.
Banks screw me over all the time, stupid fees or whatever. And, like, there's like kind of an in for them to be accepted by society, not in general, but, like, just to be accepted. And,
certain pockets of society. Yeah,
it's not like society's not trying to drive them out because they're, horribly evil or whatever. They're just
right.
Like, I get it. I would rob a bank too, Or,
yeah, if I had the opportunity to make my life easier, sure.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of like the idea, like, just the cat and mouse between heroes and villains. And if you have a character who's written, like a villain who's written to be just murderous and like, they're a terrible, sadistic, cruel, heartless, ruthless killer, you can't really have that back and forth cat and mouse thing without it getting really old. Like, why hasn't he killed the hero yet? Or why hasn't the hero put a stop to him permanently yet?
Yeah.
Like the Batman and Joker thing. Like, it's that constant back and forth. It's like, okay, after a while it gets a little bit exhausting to be like, the Joker's killing all these people, but Batman's like, no, he can't kill one person, because if I kill one person, then that's the point I can never come back from. It's like, well, I mean, but it also means you're kind of okay with letting all these people die in order to maintain your own sense of moral high ground. So, I don't know. It's a longer conversation to have, but that's
kind
my
of
take.
write yourself into a corner with a character like that.
Yeah. All right. Oh, wait. You know what? No, we are going to need one more page now that I think about it. Dang it. Here I thought it was just about done, and I realized that in order for this to work, we need one more page. So this one's going to be one panel. This one can be like 3 panels. How many was this one? 4, 3. Okay, that's fine. He wakes up. Alright, so I've got the action summary for page 23. Let's do the action summary for page 24. I'm kind of bummed we won't get the chance to finish this off tonight. We'll probably have to circle back around to this another time, but we were going to have to do that anyways because there's still art to be done.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So basically the previous page what I'm writing is Procyon kind of struggles to free himself from the crater, but he passes out because he's exhausted, the smoke and all that. He wakes up wearing an oxygen mask. He's being on a stretcher, being carried by firemen with the fire chief next to him, kind of talking into his radio. And then it'll kind of end off with him sitting near the fire engine, kind of just recovering, drinking some water, stuff like that. The question of how he's going to get back home, I mean, we can say he had just enough energy left to get back. So we'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have to address that part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We can hand wave that. We can yada yada it, as they say. How many other heroes are there going to be at this little meeting? Have we even decided who it's going to be yet?
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, I think there's kind of a group of them that kind of make up a team, a core group. So I think like
him, the Protector,
yeah,
the Super Soldier, Tactician,
yeah,
Speedster.
yeah. That
I
would
can
make
see
sense.
that. So just those 5 for now.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Maybe might want to consider if we're gonna do the thing with Colin. Maybe just throw that character in too. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, maybe not, because we're gonna go with the origin on that.
I have thoughts on that.
Okay, so maybe not then. Just go
Yeah.
with the other ones. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. Because, but in that comic, we're not going to really see those characters. So I think it's kind of weird to introduce those characters and then not have them in the follow-up issue, like the follow-up origin comics.
Yeah.
So maybe we will.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that, folks. Kind of, scheming on stream. Screaming? No, no. that's a bad portmanteau. We don't want to use that. Protector, Super Soldier, Tactician, Speedster. I think actually we don't even need a panel description for that one. I think that for the one panel pages, the action summary is sufficient usually. Did we come up with names for some of those characters yet? I think we had for a couple.
For a couple of them we have. Not for all of them. Definitely not for all of them.
Vanguard, I know. That's weird. Okay, well, whatever. Alright, cool. Alright. So, for those of you who have been following along, you may know this already. For those of you who are relatively new, basically the idea that we're going with here is the first few issues that we do for our comic, or for this comic series, are going to be basically introducing some of the major heroes in our setting, kind of introducing themselves to other members of the team that we're setting up. So that's why this character is kind of like narrating, explaining who he is, where he came from, all that stuff. And then once we kind of have established those main characters' origins, we're going to move into doing some team-up books where they're going to be working together on different things. And then ultimately, we'll branch out into some other stuff too, probably in between now and then, because we've got other characters that we want to introduce. So that's kind of the idea. That's what we're going for. So that's why at the very end there you see him like meeting up with some of these other characters. And for those of you who have played our game, Villains and Henchmen, you may notice those heroes, the descriptions that I used for those being the names of some of the hero cards in the game. So that's kind of the tie-in there. You'll be able to recognize the overlap between the game and the comics. So yeah, just a quick explanation. So oddly enough, I wrote out page 24 before finishing writing out page 23. That's only because page 24 was nice and easy, whereas page 23 is going to require some panel descriptions, a little bit of dialogue, yada, yada, yada. So we'll finish that up next time that we do a Ravensdale Writes Comics. It'll be one page, nice and easy to wrap it up, and then we'll just be focused on the art side, maybe going back through all the pages and cleaning them up a little bit, doing some tweaking of the descriptions and whatnot, but nothing major. So I don't know if you have anything you want to add from a comic perspective. How much progress had you made?
So I have 2 pages that I need to start coloring and lettering.
Okay.
And I have 2 pages that I need to ink, and then I have 20 pages I need to get penciled out. So
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work.
I think that's why we kind of discussed having the guest artist come on for one of the episodes, because
Right.
that gives us something to talk about with the comic without you having to necessarily have made a bunch of progress before that episode.
Right.
And then we also are going to do some episodes once the script is done where we're just going to do geek outs so you can keep drawing
Right.
those while we're talking.
Yeah.
So that's the plan going forward, so that we don't get too far ahead. I mean, we're kind of already pretty far ahead because we finished, but
Yeah.
we don't want to start writing another script while you still have to draw this one.
Yep.
So that's the idea there. Before we go, a couple things we want to talk about. So first off is our raffle, our drawing for followers. So we are making progress towards... Where is it? There it is right there. We're making progress towards our next goal, where we are basically going to be giving away some art, some original concept art, or just character sketches or whatever. Once we hit 75 followers, we're going to do a raffle where we'll give out some stickers, or one of our pins, and a piece of art to the first place winner, and then we'll give some other stuff out to a second place winner, just the pins and the stickers. So again, that's the next goal that we're aiming for, 75 followers. So we're 15 away. Please let people know to come check us out. Make up dummy accounts and follow, or no, sorry, don't do that. But yeah, just spread the word. We appreciate the support. And I think that's pretty much all I can say about that. If you're curious about what the exact rules are, I don't want to go over them ad nauseum, but feel free to watch this video back once the stream is over, and you can pause it here to kind of look over the rules. But basically, chatting, following, subscribing, all of those things will get you entries into our drawing. And if you go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there, comment on our videos, that will also get you entries there. So yeah, keep an eye on that, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll be able to do another drawing.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Awesome. And then the other thing is we have the stream, the charity stream, that Samson is doing this particular art piece for. We're actually going to be streaming Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice on May 23rd in recognition of World Schizophrenia Day on May 24th. So on May 23rd, from 6 p.m. Pacific time to midnight, I'm going to be streaming Senua's Sacrifice because a good friend of mine who was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia asked that I do a stream on it and talk about it because he said that it was the most accurate representation of kind of schizophrenia in pop culture, especially in an interactive medium. And he is kind of interested in helping to bring awareness to the issue or to the diagnosis and kind of help destigmatize it, not make it not such a taboo topic. Because unfortunately a lot of mental health issues are not fully understood. A lot of people are kind of scared of them. And so they ridicule them or they just don't want to talk about it. They just kind of sweep it under the rug, which doesn't help anybody that is dealing with those particular conditions. So we're going to be doing a stream that night, and we are basically going to do fundraising where you can donate to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. We'll be putting information up about that particular organization here in the next few days, so you can check it out, see where the money's going. We would love it if you would tune in on that night, make a donation to help support the research they do into schizophrenia treatment, and spread the word. Again, let your friends know about it, and hopefully everybody will tune in. We'll have a bit of a good time, and we'll be able to raise some money for a good cause. Also, our friend who was diagnosed is going to be doing an Ask Me Anything during the stream. So while I'm playing through and probably dying a whole lot, you'll be able to ask him questions about the treatment, the symptoms, his experience going through the diagnosis, and some of the stigma he's run into and things like that. You can ask him whatever you want about schizophrenia, obviously within reason. You got to be appropriate with those questions. So yeah, I think it's a really good cause. Having been a corpsman in the Navy, medical care and healthcare and well-being is really important to me, and mental well-being is as important as physical well-being. So I'm actually pretty stoked to be doing this. I hope we're able to raise a decent amount of money for the organization. Hopefully you'll join us and help us out with that.
Yeah, I'm very, very stoked to be a part of this. It's pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, thank you very much for it. I think I'm super impressed with what you got going there. So
thank you.
So yeah, that's all we've got for the end of stream announcements and discussions. If you are not following us, please give us a follow so you can see other streams that are coming out. We will put up information specific to the Senua Sacrifice stream, hopefully in the next couple of days, and then we'll talk about it again kind of at length on Monday, where Samson's going to talk us through why he picked some of the stuff he did for this art piece. And
then I'll be painting.
Yeah. Oh, and you'll be painting.
Yes.
You're going to do that stream?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do that.
We'll just set up the same. We'll be good.
But my table.
No, I use acrylic paint. It's not gonna be any different than what I'm doing right here. I promise.
Okay. Well, we can also
safe.
get some paper, newspaper to put down, just to be on the safe side.
Okay, no problem.
So, but yeah, cool. Any parting thoughts?
Nope. Just Game of Thrones garbage.
Yeah, this last episode of Game of Thrones has a lot to make up for, right? So we'll probably talk about that a little bit at the beginning of the next episode, just because we have to. Yeah. But all right, cool. Thanks very much for tuning in. For those of you who just got here, I apologize. We are signing off now, but feel free to watch the video back on demand, and yeah, check us out next week. I will see you all on Wednesday. I'm going to be streaming some more Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I have a giant flaming bull that I have to kill as my next boss fight, and that'll be the first thing I do getting into the game.
Did you say a flaming bull?
Yeah, he's a bull that's got giant hay bills.
I thought you said bull for a minute. I was like,
bull?
What?
Oh.
Like a bull.
Yeah, From Software has done some weird enemies, but never pottery. Looking forward to it. Good on you for the stream coming up. Oh, thank you, Kashra. It wasn't our idea. It was my friend's idea, but I'm happy to take credit. I mean, I'm happy to participate. Panagirl says, this was one for the books, guys. Yeah, I agree. That artwork that Samson's working on really helped this one stand out a lot. So, can't wait to geek out some more.
Yeah, me either.
In the meantime, come check us out on Wednesday. Watch me fail at being a ninja. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
See you guys.